Hey, welcome to the video, everyone. This is a Disney cruise I took over spring break just a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to give you guys a little review, and here we are at the port of San Diego. I did book a Disney cruise because I figured I've never been on a cruise before. This is my first time and didn't know what to expect. So let's start off with the check-in line. It was kind of like you're walking through a warehouse pretty much. My son was pretty excited. And there's not a lot there, to be honest with you. Just a few pop-up signs that say welcome guests from the Disney World. You can see not much going on. You can still see the ship outside. And then once we get in here, it's kind of like, it's weird because you have to stand in line. However, if you've booked a Disney cruise before, they'll let you cut the line and go right to the check-in. So here we are. We've already checked in. I'm not supposed to be filming here. I've been told 3 times. I don't listen. Finally, we get out of that area warehouse and we're actually going up the escalator here so you can see the ship. We get a little bit of Disney love before we go in, and the ship itself is pretty big. I mean, like I said, I've never been on a cruise ship before, so we had all our stuff with us, passports, they send you out a whole list of things to bring on the ship, paperwork-wise and ID-wise, and we fulfilled all those obligations, and here we are coming in. So one thing they do is announce your visit on the ship, and everyone is there, including Goofy, up on the stairs. Once on the ship, they told us to go have lunch at this buffet, which actually turned out to be pretty delicious. This is actually the location where we would have breakfast most mornings as well. It was pretty close to our stateroom. And this was all before we had to do this safety briefing where they shuttled us all into this giant room.
May I have your attention, please? The mandatory emergency drill will begin at the end of this announcement. If you are not yet at your assigned assembly station, please proceed by following the signs and directions given by the designated crew members.
So once that safety briefing was over, we decided to go up to the stateroom and check it out. Now I will do a little further review on this room once we come back, but this was our initial impression, our first time seeing the stateroom. It was very, very cool. We got a handicapped ADA room, so it had a larger deck and a larger bathroom. The view from San Diego from our veranda was really nice. It was kind of cold out this week. The whole week was kind of cold, about mid-60s. And here's our bathroom. As you can see, it's just a shower, a toilet, and a sink. I've never been on a cruise before, and I hear that other rooms have 2 separate bathrooms, like a separate toilet and a separate shower and sink. Not sure how that goes, but this is what ours look like. So once we saw the room, we went downstairs and they had, of course, a Disney Let's Get Out of Here festival. And all the usual suspects were here, including Mickey and Minnie and Pluto. They all came out to welcome us all aboard the Disney Cruise Line. The show was actually pretty good. The DJ was like hyping everybody up, and there was dancing, and the kids and the adults seemed to be having a good time. Again, this is before we leave the port of San Diego. It was really a nice send-off for us. And once we started moving, I really got kind of excited because, like I said, I've never been on a cruise before, so it was kind of fun. So we shoved off around like 5:30, almost 6 o'clock at night, so it started to get a little dark after that as we said goodbye to San Diego. And here's a video I took with my cell phone. These are dolphins, hundreds of them. I probably got the crappiest video of them all, but they were jumping out of the water and following us at dusk. I thought that was really very cool. Next up for us was our first dining experience on the ship. Now on a Disney cruise, you go to a different restaurant every night. Our first night was Animator's Palette, and the same wait staff follows you. So our first night was Animator's Palace, the next night we did somewhere else, and the next night we did somewhere else. The wait staff followed us. Animator's Palace is pretty cool because you see the posters on the wall that are actually digital, and they throughout the dinner, they actually create characters, they draw them, and then at the very end is what you're seeing here. They all come together and come to life. So day 2 we woke up at Catalina Island. We decided not to take any of the excursions out onto Catalina Island since we're local to the area, and we decided to take this time and actually just go and explore the ship a little more. Since it was my first time, I was kind of stoked and I wanted to see what the Disney Wonder had to offer. So we got to see Mickey, and throughout the ship there are schedules and times that the characters are actually available to take pictures with you and your kids. This was one of them. The line was kind of short since a lot of people were out on Catalina Island, so we took this advantage to get our photos taken as well. We saw Mickey not once, but twice. Here he comes. He gave us a high 4. Very cool. As I said, we took this opportunity to walk around the ship, and we saw some shows going on. They had a lot of trivia. I ran the table on 80s trivia, 80s music actually, so I'm pretty proud of that. The ship is pretty elegant. I mean, look at this. Elevators, glass elevators, and just a huge atrium. Again, all of the Disney characters always available to take photos, and the lines move pretty quickly. I was pretty impressed by what I saw at my first cruise. Now, this was one of the cafes where they had trivia and drawing classes, but it's really like a New Orleans style cafe where you can get beignets and all the other stuff New Orleans has to offer, except only here on a ship. And there you see the little trolley car you can sit in as well. Kind of a cool little themed area. As we went outside, you can still see the gloomy weather, but we wanted to see more of the ship. Now, this was the kids area. You can see they had a big water slide there, which I wanted to go on, but was immediately told it's for kids only, which kind of sucks for me, but that's all right. You can see the kids are having fun, jumping around. This is the kids' pool. They would show movies throughout the day on the giant TV screen, which I thought was really cool. Obviously, that's for kids and it gets super loud there, but they did have an adult section more towards the front of the ship, and here we see the adult pool. It had a couple of hot tubs, and there's also a spa back there through those doors, and this was the second deck up from the adult section. You can see you had just privacy, no kids running around, and lots of empty chairs for you to sit on. I found that the whole cruise, the adult section was usually pretty empty. Now, speaking of the adult section, we wanted to get out of the kind of chilly weather, so we checked out the adult lounges. Here's the Cadillac Lounge. It was decorated and inspired by Cadillacs. I believe it was late Cadillacs of the 40s and early 50s. As you can see, they have like the upholstered chairs, and look at this bar. It's the front. It looks much more interesting at night, but it is the front end of a Cadillac, and you can see the tables are the hubcaps as well. Now here they would have a piano player in the evening, and it was really a chill lounge more towards the front of the ship with giant porthole windows. Here's another bar and lounge right next to it. This bar is called the Crown and Fin, more of a British pub feel. They also had the 80s music trivia, which I ran the table on, which was really fun for me. Now, you're probably wondering, how do you keep track of all the shows and everything going on the ship? The Disney Cruise Line has an app that you download prior to boarding the ship, and they have their own Wi-Fi on the ship. It won't get you internet access, but it will give you access to this. It also has a messaging feature, so you can message your kids and ask them where they're at. You can star and heart certain events, and it'll create a little itinerary for you, which I found super helpful. Anything you want to know about the Disney Wonder, the shows, or the restaurants is on this app. Now, as I said earlier, I didn't do any of the excursions because we're local to the area, so I'll put this little B-roll up while I tell you about why you're not seeing my child on screen. They have these kids clubs. My son was in the Edge Club, which is like from 11 to 14 years old. Once he registered, I thought, oh, maybe he'll just check it out and stay with us. Nope, we lost him the whole cruise ship. The whole time we were at sea, he was at the Edge. He made a ton of friends, and they have different clubs for different ages. So I recommend, if you have kids, expect not to see them for a long time on this cruise because they will have fun at those clubs. So let me give you a little tour of the room here. Okay, so we've got a bed. And this is a stateroom that's handicapped. It's a handicap accessible room, so if you press that, the door opens automatically. I'm not gonna do it because there's a lady outside cleaning the other room and I don't wanna bother her. We have closets here. So you have nice closet, the light turns automatically. There's your life preservers, lots of storage. You can fit your bags and stuff under the bed. You've got lots of, so you got 2 drawers there, and then this opens up and it's pretty big down here for storage. Okay, you've got your lights and little shelf there for charging. You're gonna have to bring like they don't have any USB in the room, so you have to bring a plug with a USB thing. Here we have the bed, really, really comfortable bed, and you can ask for extra pillows and they will bring it for you. You have a sofa here with like a little table here for snacks and food, whatever. That's actually another bed that drops down, so you can have one person sleep here, one person sleep on top. So you can sleep up to 4 people in this room. Don't mind the mess there. Nice little desk. The TV just went out because we're actually just pulled away from Catalina. Underneath here we have a fridge, and it's just a small fridge, no biggie, but it's nice to have sandwiches and stuff from downstairs, and you can always bring them back here. Now I don't have this on wide angle because I wanted to show you guys exactly what it looks like. Here's the mirror. Let's go outside, and you just do this and pull it here. Now I just said we pulled away from Catalina, so here's our lounging area, and this is 7136, so it's pretty far back. And like I said, it is a handicap accessible unit, so you're gonna find that this deck is a lot larger than some of the other staterooms that have decks, or I guess what you call them, decks or balconies, what have you. 2 chairs, 2 loungers rather, 2 chairs. And here you can see we are pulling away from Catalina. And there you see the wake that we're leaving. We are, like I said, we're at the back of the ship, so you can see the motor just pulling us over there. All right. Usually last night there were dolphins following us around here. I don't see them now, but they may show up later. I'll try to get footage of that. All right, so let's check out, let's go back in here. Let me shut this. And this is a weird way to shut it. So you shut it here and lift the handle up, and then you're secure. All right, so let's check the bathroom out. Like I said, it is a handicap bathroom. It's pretty large. Okay, so here you've got your toilet, you've got your big sink. It's very, very big. And then here you have your shower head with a bench. So these are, I guess, I've never been on one before I've never been on a cruise before, so this is it for me. So this is what the bathrooms, I guess, are. This is huge for a cruise ship bathroom, okay? Like I said, I've never been on one before. Here's a little hint, and I talked to a few people at dinner where they sat us with, where they said the same thing. The bathrooms kind of tend to smell a little bit. Smell like, I don't know, like farts or the ocean, I'm not sure. But if you get a cruise, or if you book a cruise, especially on the Disney Wonder, and you get like a room and you're worried about the stink of the bathroom, bring like an air freshener, an air wick or something with you, Lysol, something, so that you can, oh, there's a nice little chair there, so you can get rid of the stink. But this is it, this is the room. It is a pretty nice big stateroom. It's not the best stateroom they have here, but it is nice. And it is a bit dated too, because you'll see like, there's some foam stuff sticking out of here. And then, you know, obviously this is dented, and they just put a little like piece of wood in there. Nice pictures of Walt Disney chilling out. And this is it. So this is our room. And not too shabby. And they do have like a really old, like kind of like air conditioning. I figured out that that was air, and this is higher temperature plus, lower temperature negative. I couldn't figure that out because I'm a bobo. And then they have the evacuation thing on the door. Now remember, as I said earlier, we go to a different restaurant every night. So tonight was Tiana's Place, which is kind of like a New Orleans themed restaurant, which was cool. The food was good. We sat with our friends that follow you throughout the whole ship. The wait staff was there. They even had like a little parade with the alligator. I did not see the Princess and the Frog, so I don't know what the references are here. But they had live entertainment at the end of dinner. It was really a fun night for all of us. We actually sat with a family throughout the whole cruise that was from Connecticut. They were really just a great bunch of people. All in all, my expectations were pretty blown away by the pageantry of the Disney Wonder. Lots of fun. Day 3, we woke up in Ensenada, Mexico. We had booked a shopping excursion. We were going to do a beach excursion, but with the weather being so chilly, we decided maybe just a 3-hour shopping excursion was fine. We were greeted by some cool seals just hanging out and playing right outside the ship as we docked into the port. I thought that was pretty cool. Check them out. They're just hanging out, having fun. Now you can book all these excursions before the cruise. It's cheaper that way. That's what we did. One thing I didn't mention, there are shows every night and every afternoon on the ship. Big shows, like we saw Frozen, we saw like the Mickey Awards ceremony show, lots of shows. They will not let you film in there. So I did not get any footage of that. I couldn't sneak my camera without getting caught. So there are shows on the ship, really great ones that you shouldn't miss. So here we are heading out to Ensenada. We'd already had breakfast and we decided to get out early. We met with our party outside of the ship, and here we are at the port just looking around. The ship is massive, by the way. They say it's a smaller ship, but it looked pretty big from where I was standing. We met our tour guide, headed off to the buses, and then we went to a historic building that was owned by Dempsey, the famous boxer of the 20s. You can see the intricate woodwork. It used to be a casino and a hotel. Now it was abandoned for years and they're trying to revitalize the place. And we were actually given like free margaritas and Coca-Cola with, Mexican Coca-Cola with real cane sugar. All in all, I'll tell you this. Let me be honest here. I would not book this again for a few reasons. One, everything was within walking distance of the ship, so we could have walked it. Here we see the outside of the vineyard that we went to, or the wine store, because there's really no vineyards. This is actually in a downtown location. But I wouldn't do it again for a few reasons. One, the proximity to the ship, you can walk it, so you wouldn't have to spend the money on the tour bus. Two, I really didn't like Ensenada too much. I thought it was kind of run down, full of graffiti. And three, the shopping excursion where they dump you off in the middle of downtown is kind of sad. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just sad. People are trying to sell everything and they're trying to get you into their stores. And they get kind of aggressive, which I thought was a little odd. But there are things to buy. There are things to do. We went to a candy shop and we got some Mexican candy and they were great. They were giving us free samples and everything. But as you can see, it's really the same shop selling everything. And there's a couple of examples of what I mean. And I'll show you them here.
Get some cowboy boots.
You want cowboy boots?
I do want cowboy boots.
No, gracias.
No, gracias, amor.
Está muy lindo.
You're next, sir.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No.
Yes, you are.
No. Primero tú y después yo.
Marianne was calling you. Now it's my turn. Hey, regresaste.
Sí, regresé.
Ven aquí, amigo.
No, pero gracias.
So there you have it. Take it with a grain of salt. I just wasn't really into being pulled or dragged into stores to buy stuff. I felt a little uncomfortable about that. I get it. They're trying to hustle, and I appreciate the hustle. I just wish they went about it a better way. So we went back on the ship. We had bought some things in Ensenada, and some storefronts weren't like that. I can't say that everybody was like that. We did buy a few things from stores where the ladies were inside. They weren't like trying to hustle you or anything like that, and it felt really great. We had a good time looking over Ensenada, and there are some other places that we would have liked to have gone. In fact, that beach excursion that I mentioned earlier turned out to be a sunny day for them. Maybe we should have done that. So stay away from the shopping one, but maybe try the beach one. So now let's get back to our night here. It turns out we had a pirate-themed night. I was not aware of this. Apparently on Disney Cruise, you have a pirate night. So we went back to Tiana's. They gave us headbands that had pirate skulls on it and stuff, little Disney pirate skulls. And Tiana's turned into this giant pirate party with another limbo stick contest. And it was just a lot of fun to see everybody dressed up as pirates. Next time we do a Disney Cruise, we will come more prepared. There's a little buddy with his pirate bandana on. Now after dinner they had this big pirate party up on the main deck. As you can see, everybody's jamming, and apparently Dr. Hook comes and takes over. Look, I'm not going to give away everything, but there were some highlights to this party that I think the kids and adults will love, and I'll show you just a little bit of it here. As you can see, there's a whole storyline, and Mickey's involved, and he's got to save the ship. But as far as parties go, this one was pretty epic, and the special effects were insane. So day 4 was just a day at sea, and I had to put this in because they had baby races, which I thought was pretty funny. I don't know how you feel about this, but baby races to me, there was like a huge crowd. Like there's 3 stories deep watching these baby races, so that was pretty fun. Throughout the day, it was a little on the chillier side, even though the sun did come out every now and then, but it was a full day at sea. So we decided to just lounge around. My son went to the club like he always did, and we just walked around the ship and ate and just lounged and relaxed, knowing that it's our last day at sea before we pull into the port of San Diego in the morning. So during your departure, while they get your suitcases ready, because you leave them out the night before and they take them and they meet you in the morning, we decided to go have breakfast. We have a scheduled time for breakfast, and then we managed to walk over to where some wine we bought in Ensenada was waiting for us because they had to clear customs with it. We had breakfast with our friends, and then it was time to leave the ship. And the funny part is, for my son, who was a little shy guy, when we were leaving the ship, everybody was saying goodbye to him, a lot of the kids that he had met. So the kids do make like friends, and everybody was just really friendly. All in all, this cruise was a lot of fun. Couple of hits, couple of misses, but for the most part, would I do it again? Absolutely. I think Disney really hit the mark on entertainment for both adults and kids, and I think they're really doing a great job. Would I do another cruise for Disney? Yep. In fact, I think we're gonna book one for next spring break, but probably out of Florida where it's warmer. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope it was helpful.